Welcome to Alternatives to AA. This is Joshua Robinson, and I've been 3 years sober.
And I'm Monique Robinson, and I'm 2 years sober. And we're here on a mission to help make the difficult journey of sobriety even easier to manage. Nobody in my world ever thought that I'd actually manage to be sober. So now we're taking what we've learned in the last decade to be able to help you too.
And we're not against AA. We just need to learn how to manage the other 23 hours of the day. From communication to relationships to self-care, we're going to show you how to cope when your triggers try to take you down.
Join us every Monday at 6 p.m. to uncover not only how to live without alcohol, but to thrive in sobriety and to swap out your addiction for a better life with the help of Alternatives to AA. So let's go.
No matter what obstacle we're facing, like when we were planning the wedding and like it was like money and time, like I was working overnights.
Mm-hmm.
I was on overnights for a whole year.
Wow.
And we were planning a wedding. So
Wow.
when I got off for work at Saturday morning, I was staying awake, or I'd take like that little tiny cat nap just so I had enough energy to get through a Saturday.
Yeah.
And we'd be driving up to the Scranton area where our wedding was,
Yeah.
and then driving back, and then I'd crash.
Yeah.
And then Sunday comes and I'm like, I don't want to do anything.
I can't move.
You know?
Yeah.
And then Monday, all of a sudden, I wake up like normal hours. I'm like, okay, I gotta start the day. Nope, I don't go to work until 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock. Okay. You know, so that right there, I mean, that was a testament to, one, our love for each other, and two, our sobriety.
Yeah.
You know, because if I didn't have her, and I mean, at the end, I mean, we really were like starting to butt heads. After the wedding, you know, just because of that difference in time. We weren't on our routine, you know, and that's the other thing about sobriety is that you build a routine.
Yeah. He had an opportunity right before the wedding to be doing like that kind of a shift. And we had to make the decision together because I was like, honestly, like if you're not home right now and I'm having a meltdown, like this could be really bad for me. Like I was scared. And so we made the decision, even though like it was really awesome pay, like we could use it, you know, but we were like, okay,
Our relationship comes
what's
first.
more important here? Because
you can always make more money, but
Yeah.
if the relationship gets destroyed, then
yeah, or if the sobriety gets destroyed,
That too.
it's done for. Because like we were talking about like the trust. So like I was just honest with him. I was like, as much as like I want you to take the job, like I'm afraid of being alone for that many hours during the week, like after work, especially dealing with the stress of the wedding, like because like so my mom passed 4 years ago, so like I was doing a lot of it by myself. Like my dad was really trying, but you know he just was kind of more of the checkbook.
he did a good
No,
job.
he put in every effort he could. But like there was some times where he'd be like, would your mom really let you do that? And I was like, what? Like, why am I, what? Like, you're not even paying for that part. Like, why am I not allowed? Like, it was just like funny things he would like comment on that like would just throw me for a loop. And like, I'd come home and be like, he said this, because I work with my dad. So like, he would be saying this stuff at work, and I'd like come home and be like, oh my God, I can't believe he said this. I don't understand. But like, it was always like something stupid that I shouldn't have reacted that big on, but I was so worked up at that point because like you guys know, planning a wedding is stressful. There's a lot of elements and a lot of people and a lot of coordinating and
I don't
all
understand how people get married a second time.
Oh no.
I don't understand it. Like,
This is my second time.
oh
Really?
wow. So, but like, so like, it must have been harder on you the second time around. Or?
Well, honestly, I was like pretty messed up my first wedding.
Yeah.
Oh,
Like
gotcha.
that was like the whole idea of getting married. It was like, hey, the party afterwards.
okay.
Yeah. True. So you did.
Yeah. Like at our wedding, like you guys said you did a sober wedding. So like we didn't do a sober wedding, but we were extremely clear that sparkling cider had to be offered to everybody.
Yeah.
And then they could like get offered like champagne, like, and then we like, you know, we were very clear, like, you don't even bring that up to our table, the champagne, like don't even get near us. It has to be sparkling cider. So like a lot of people like kind of got into that. They were actually like, oh yeah, sparkling cider, that sounds great. But like they had the option of the bar. But like I was just so happy because it was just like they were very, very careful with us. So like I felt safe even with that because I was nervous about that because my family wanted like, you know, the bar. But like, you know, for me, that's not so good. So I was like, all right, how do we do this? Like, how do we make it both work?
Well,
So
we ended up getting a wedding planner towards the end of it, just to help with a lot of like the final touch-ups.
Like, what are we missing kind of a thing.
Yeah, like all those loose ends that you kind of like oversee, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, well, that's like an important part.
Yeah.
The cake.
Maybe
You
need
know?
one of those.
But, you know, like for a whole year, we slowly bought everything. Like, we did all the decorations ourselves. We didn't do any, like, big decorations. We didn't, the only thing we did with the florist was her bouquet, boutonnieres, and corsages.
Okay.
You know,
And
just
my maid of honors bouquet.
and your maid of honors bouquet. So it was very like on the inexpensive side.
That
And
works.
when it came to the centerpieces, like the place where we got married, he actually had the log slices
Oh, okay.
because we had a rustic country style.
Yeah.
The log slices?
like
Yeah,
literally
like
a slice of
little cut.
log.
Like a log,
Oh.
so it's like
Like
That's-
a
plate.
Like an inch or
Yeah.
two thick,
yeah.
and then it's just like round on the table.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So it was just in the center of the table, and then we bought
Like these-
card stands that had like a wooden base as well, and it had just it
Oh, wow.
all meshed well. And then we had like these little green glasses that had just a little bit of like a wheat stem and lavender, and it gave just a nice little like
And probably
elegant
smelled really good
touch.
too.
Yes.
I love lavender.
Oh my
But-
God, it's
Going back to it though, is like we bought everything little by little by little, and then like I said, we got the wedding coordinator, but she finally came to the end of it, and it was arranging family,
Yeah.
who to put where.
Oh,
you
the
know.
tables. Oh, I did not enjoy that.
But also, like, when we talked to the caterer and the business that we were at, we said, you know, we'd really like to have a dry wedding. I was like, you know, I'm in sobriety, and, you know, she doesn't drink because her family does not know that she's in AA.
Oh, okay.
So, you know, that's the anonymity of it.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah.
But overall, like, to be respectful, like, my family understands, you know, and I mean, my family is probably one of the biggest victims, you know, just as much as like everybody else has, you know, burned bridges. My family has been a major victim in my addiction and alcoholism. So,
Oh, yeah.
in a way, I was kind of making that amend to them, like, you know, come celebrate with us. This is me showing you, like, I'm being better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
This
know,
is
I'm
the
being
new
more
me.
wise about things.
Yeah.
But what our wedding planner said was, this is your wedding. Doesn't matter what they think.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if there's a bar there that has no liquor on it
Yeah.
or a cooler full of Coca-Colas. They're here for you, not
Yeah.
the bar. If they're here for the bar, you could just tell them to leave,
Yeah.
you know? And she goes, I have no problem telling them either.
And like how the venue itself worked was that no matter what like kind of bar you had to get a bartender. And so obviously that's more money. And then with the insurance, you'd have to get insurance, like a liquor license. There we go.
Oh, yeah.
So that's more money on top of it right there. And alcohol is expensive.
Yes.
Yeah, like I just went to a Phillies game and I was like, $11 for a beer?
Oh my god.
15 for a little cocktail
Yeah.
can things?
Yeah.
$5, $7 for a water?
Yeah, no, that one drives me nuts. I'm like, okay, it's $2 everywhere else. It doesn't really have to be like $8.
Yeah,
like,
right.
Yeah,
like when
right.
we go to the Devils game, I'm like trying to get a water bottle and it's like $6, and I'm like, like I
will
wish I
s-
could just bring it in.
I will say at least like with the Phillies, like they'll do like the big smart waters, so it's
Okay.
actually like a little bit more worth it than just like the standard like 16-ounce ones.
There you go.
Okay.
There you go.
But yeah, I mean, so the cost efficiency just alone not drinking.
Yeah.
You know, like I watched at the Phillies game, like, you know, everything's with card.
Yeah.
And the guy's like, oh yeah, I'll take 3 of those. And then like 10 minutes later, I'll take 2 more. And I'm like, you just spent $55.
Mm-hmm.
Like that.
Well,
Yeah.
that's the thing with credit cards these days. Like, you don't realize how quickly it adds up until you get the bill at the end of the month, and you just go, "What the hell?" Like,
Well,
if
that's
you're
why
not paying
that's
attention.
why I always paid with cash at bars, because
Yeah.
that was my
That-
manageability.
There you go.
know?
That was smart.
I only got $20, and then you start flirting with the guy at the end of the bar, and it's like, how many drinks can you buy me?
Yeah, right?
I ran out of money.
Yeah.
There we go.
I forgot my ATM card.
Yeah. No, I just, like, that was the thing. Like, I stopped going to the bars with people and just started drinking at home because it was cheaper.
Yeah.
So, like, that was how I solved the financial problem. But truth be told, that just made it bigger because I just kept needing more and more and more because I was home. I was safe. I could drink as much as I freaking wanted. Well, you know, that bill got really high really fast. And I was smarter at bars because, like, I would only have, like, one because I didn't know who was necessarily always around me. So, like, it actually backfired in so many ways because I literally, like, the most I ever had at a bar was 2. But that was over multiple hours because I was always afraid, like, you know, blacking out at a bar. Like, you are in trouble there. Yeah. But, like, you know, you black out at home. Who cares? You just crawled into bed somewhere.
Or you just laid wherever you want.
Yeah. You just laid on the couch or you crawled into bed and then you woke up in bed and you're like, well, I guess I walked. You guys ever have, like, any strong, like, negatives to, like, doing this together? Like, do you ever feel any negatives? Because a lot of people, like, question that with AA. Yeah. Okay, there you go.
This actually reminds me of, like, with the pastor when we did our pre-marital sessions.
Go on.
It's just like, you guys, like, have a good thing, say something good and say something bad about each other. Just get it out. Well, this is one of them. Okay. Heaven forbid I'm a bad person. My anger. That poof, like, that lid just popped right off. Mm-hmm. And I was throwing my water bottle out in the parking lot. I threw the truck keys out in the woods, and I was like, you go find them. Yeah. I threw my vape in the woods. I'm like, I'll get another one. She tries doing the, why are you yelling at me? What's wrong with you? Uh-oh. Trying the recovery, reverse psychology kind of thing. And I was like, don't be a fucking recovery coach to me right now. Just let me blow it. Yeah. So that is a negative, and sometimes where it's like, I said to her, I was like, I need a wife. Yeah. I need a spouse. Mm-hmm. Yes. I don't need a sober partner in a sense of, you know, telling me how to be sober and do the sober thing right now. Yeah. Just tell me how I can be a better significant other to you. Mm-hmm. And you comfort me, console me, or put me in my place like a significant other would.
Yeah. I will justify my actions here and say that nothing else was working.
Yeah, so that was like my last straw.
Yeah, it was.
But when you're in that state, nothing's gonna help anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, like, usually I can, like, talk to her and, like, just, like, get it through her. And, like, that time I was like, all right, well, yelling at her didn't work. Taking the things she was throwing didn't work. Being nice didn't work. Well, let's throw this at her. And she was like, oh, fuck no.
So Josh is studying psychology, and every once in a while, I'm like, I just need you, not the psychologist. Just you.
Yeah,
like,
like it happens all the time.
Yeah, because, like, you know, he's learning it actively in school right now, so, like, you tend to want to practice it. Yeah. And sometimes I'm like, I don't need a therapist today. I just need you to be my husband and just deal with it. Like I've just, you know, like, sometimes when, like, you know, it's that time of the month and you get a little, like, wackadoo, and he'll just be like, okay, like, and, like, he'll try to, like, do the psychology on me, and I'm like, that's not gonna work. Like, I'm having a bad day. You know what's going on. You know it's why a bad day. So you just gotta go with it. And, like, he'll sometimes be like, okay.
Yeah, I mean, there's not much you can do. It's just you gotta just sit there with them.
Yeah, you just gotta roll with it.
You know, and I don't, excuse me, I don't think it has anything to do with it being a heterosexual marriage or even a same-sex marriage.
No.
Like, everybody knows we have hormones.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's biology,
yep.
You know? But the mind is a completely different part of the anatomy.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
It has its own ways,
oh, yeah.
You know? And the way our bodies are designed is for survival. And that, you know, like, when you... like, reading the big book, and it talks about, like, all our survival instincts, they're completely, like, flip-flopped, you know, and that's why it's, like, going back to our old ways, like, leaving that meeting and not, you know, feeling like you have anybody, so it's like, I'm alone, all right, well, I gotta go to the bar, because...
Yeah, I gotta go back to where I coped best,
that's
which
where
is, like, the total
my comfort. So, I mean, that's that instinct that it's talking about. And it's the same thing, like, even when it comes to a marriage, like, our instincts is survival, defense.
Yeah.
So, that was mine with her. Like, I felt threatened, even though she cannot hurt me in any way possible.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, those fighting words.
Try me, honey.
But, you know, it's that survival instinct of, like, I'm on the defense. I feel cornered even though I'm not really.
Yeah.
But that's that.
They talk about that a lot in AA, like feeling like the cornered animal, like ready to strike. You know, especially in early sobriety. That's just where you are. You're in the corner, you're shaking, you're trying to figure it out, and you're bug-eyed scared because it's so brand new and it's so counterintuitive to how you've been living for a while.
How you've been surviving.
Yeah, because I mean, like, no matter what, no addict, like, just, you know, their first day drinking, like, they realize they're addicted. Like, you know, that takes time. So, like, you learn these bad habits, you get comfortable in these bad habits, and it's not until you hit a breaking point, you rock bottom, till you realize, like, okay, there's a problem here, like, back it up, like, but then also trying to relearn the new ways is just terrifying sometimes. Because it just feels so not like you. Like, and that was sometimes, like, what would trigger me, too, was, like, I don't feel like myself anymore. Like, I want to go back to the fun me, like, the one that was relaxed sometimes. But, you know, immediately the fun me would have too many drinks and then get to the mean me. So, like, it just never worked. Like, but that lie, you could lie to yourself so easily and get there so easily. So it's just, like, crazy when you think about it.
Well, it's like what you said just now, like, with the picking up the drink and, you know, not that first drink is like, oh, I'm an alcoholic today. You know, that doesn't happen.
Nope.
And what I was saying, like, with the mind is, like, our behaviors, even as, like, for me as a child, I was stealing change out of my dad's sock drawer. And then, like, I had this imagination that, like, I was being watched all the time. So when I was going to the general store that was, like, down the road and around the corner, like, I went through the woods so that nobody would see me on the road and, like, report it to my mom, like, crazy. But that's the way my brain is programmed. I have that, like, imagination, or, like, I'm paranoia, I guess you could say, you know. And so that started, like, as a young girl. And then as I got older, it was just, like, sneaking out of the house. I was fortunate. My bedroom was, like, our house was a ranch. It was a one level. So my bedroom window was only 3 feet above the ground. I'm 6 foot.
That's pretty easy.
3 feet of me and 3 feet of me in.
Yeah.
So it was very easy to get in and out. And, like, I learned how to, like, start the car very quietly, wait till the car's driving by. You know? But it's just, like, those kinds of things. Like, you start to develop that, like, strategic ways of, like, getting around everything. It's that survival. But it's all those behaviors. So even, like I was saying before, like, not needing the drink, but being a drunk and the dry drunk.
Yeah.
It's because of the behaviors. It's all those character defects that I've just developed.
Yeah. Like,
you know?
Like, you were talking about, like, hiding things. Like, I was even hiding alcohol in the house, sometimes from myself, like,
to trick yourself.
Like, to feel better that, like, nobody else could find it. So, like, the funny thing is, a year after I got sober, we were in the storage room moving stuff around, and I found a full vodka bottle. It was sealed, but I had a total meltdown because I was like, babe, I swear I didn't buy it. And he was like, I know, it was behind, like, everything. Like, and we, you know, dumped it out. Like, it wasn't a big deal, but, like, I was like, oh my God, I can't believe I found that after, like, a year. And we had, like, searched the house, too. Like, I thought I'd found all my hiding spots. Like, I thought I'd cleaned everything out. I really, truly did. And then finding that, I was like, oh my God. Like, and I just became a year sober for the first time ever, too. So I was like, this is, like, the worst ever. But he was like, it was hidden behind everything. I know, like, you didn't do it on purpose. I'm kind of impressed you got it there. But, like, you know, it was just kind of like one of those things, like, like, those habits. Like, I just kept hiding it because I had to hide it from my family. I had to hide it from friends. I had to hide it from past boyfriends. Like, so I was just in the habit in the house, even when I was alone in the house. Nobody was coming over. I was still hiding it, so in case people came over later, for some odd reason, it wasn't out. Like,
it's like always being prepared for the unexpected.
Exactly.
You know, it's like you always keep a clean house because you never know when somebody's coming over.
Yeah, it's true.
You know, you drop the spoon. Oh, you're getting company. Like, whatever that, like, you know, mythology is.
Yeah.
But, no, I mean, like, for me, I never had to hide the alcohol. My first drink, I was 8 years old.
Okay.
You know, it was beers. I was my dad's little beer runner. Him and his buddy, they were crabbing in the creek behind our shore house. So I'm 8 years old, and my mom's in the shore house doing whatever she's doing, and I'm running back and forth, bring out the full, take back the empties. Well, his buddy decided to stop drinking. Well, my mom didn't know that.
Oh.
Ronnie's clever.
Yeah. Sneaky.
I'll still take 2. One for my dad and one for the road.
Yeah.
So that was my experience as the first time, and it was not even the taste of the alcohol. I think it was that sneaky feeling,
I'm being bad.
Like,
Yeah.
I'm outsmarting my mom because she doesn't even know. She just sees me, but she has no idea until I'm
Yeah.
like at the kitchen table trying to eat dinner, and I'm like,
Yeah.
You still have like problems with trying to like go around things and
Like
do
sneak
it
around?
like sneak around things, because I'm like that too. Like I want, like I try to do things the unconventional way.
like trying to find the easier, softer way.
Yeah. For everything almost.
It's kind of hard though, because like being a supervisor, you're trying to set the example.
Yeah.
And I think that's actually one attribute to being sober and being a supervisor. They so help each other. Because
The
now I
response.
know, like, instead of having a reaction, I'm more responsive.
Yes.
I'm more aware, and I'm able to read people a little bit better. So it's like an advantage too, because like all that persuasive and manipulation that I've mastered throughout my life.
You know when they're doing that to you.
Exactly. You can't bullshit a bullshitter.
Yeah.
So
100%.
it's, being a supervisor, I can see things, but at the same time too, I'm setting the example. So by, living a sober life and knowing like how to do things the right way and not have to cut the corner,
Yeah.
because my alcoholic brain says if I cut the corner, I'm going to save time, I'm going to save distance, I'm going to save money. But guess what? I just took a completely left turn, and now I have no idea where that's going.
Yeah.
Wow.
This is the path I'm supposed to be on, so I'm just going to stay on course.
Yeah.
If I trip over the rock, I'm just going to get up, dust my knees off, and keep going.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That is. Yeah, like
That's
just every once in a while, sometimes like we'll catch each other in it. Like, but like that's again the good thing about being together in this. Like, if one of us is about to go off track, we'll kind of be like, hey, I don't like that. I don't like what you're doing. Like,
Yeah.
do you realize that's going to take you in this direction? And then, then we can talk about it and discuss it and kind of like get to the root of the problem. Because there's always a root. Like, that's the biggest thing with addiction. There's always a root to why you're doing it.
So if you understand it, once you understand it, it's like, it's not as bad.
Yeah.
Because when it's unknown, it's just like, you're just confused and you can't really do anything about it.
Because you're reactive instead of like trying to process like why.
Yeah.
Like the one day we got into an argument, which started off with her getting pissed off that I cut her off while she was talking, and ended in she doesn't get to spend enough time with the dog.
Aw.
Okay.
But yeah, so it's so stupid. Like, you have the fights over nothing, and it's like, oh, this was really the reason.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
Like sometimes like we'll get at each other when like we've been together, but we've been like working on stuff and like doing all these things, like not actually just spending couple time.
That's the main thing. The main thing for sure.
Yeah. So like sometimes
This.
like yes.
Oh,
This
that
is
evil guy.
horrible.
Yes.
I mean, even before we came here, like, she got off of work, we talked for like 5-10 minutes in the car on the way home, and then what did we do before we came here? Sat on our phone on the couch.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
No, actually, the start of everything, if you want to know, is we got home. She lets the dog do her business. I go upstairs. I start feeding the cats.
Yeah.
So she starts washing the dishes. So then she looks at me because I'm not saying anything. Are you okay? Because you've been really quiet. I'm like, I just talked to you in the truck. It's a 10-minute drive, not even. I said, like, what's going on? And right now, like, and I even said it, I'm like, every minute of my life does not need chatter.
Yeah.
Like, but that's that honesty. Like, you can be serious, but really honestly just say, like, hey, I'm chill. Like, I'm good. Nothing's wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But sometimes that does catch me off guard, where I just suddenly I'm like, I'm really fine.
And I'm like,
I want to bite your head off just because you keep asking, are you okay?
And I'm like, yeah, but see, the reason why you want to bite my head off is because there actually is something wrong. So when are you going to get over yourself and just tell me?
Yeah. When are you going to stop keeping it inside?
Yeah, but sometimes, like it was like you said, like you're processing. You still don't know what the root of it is.
Yeah.
So subconsciously, for me, I know, like, there's something, but I can't quite put my finger on it. But my mind is going to just be creating something.
Yeah, figure it out.
And I don't realize that my body actions, my expressions are the result of what my mind is creating and processing. And this part of me is like, what? And then when she reacts to, like, what's going on? Like, you're quiet, you're distant, you know, you're not yourself. And I'm like, really? Like, I thought I am.
Yeah. Like
I feel like me.
I'm pretty sure I'm me. But, like, sometimes, like, I'll process by, like, playing stupid games on my phone, and he'll be like,
Yeah, and then
I
I'm
want
like,
to
what are you
spend time
doing?
with you.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm trying to figure it out. And he's like, okay, but if we talk, you might get there a little quicker. Like, I might be able to help you.
Yeah.
And, like, so sometimes, like, I have to, like, put that down or, like, put it in another room so, like, we can communicate. But, like, sometimes even just the lack of communication is just, like, what's the problem? Like,
Yeah.
and I'm not even realizing that's what's bothering me. Like, we haven't spent enough time, like, just as a couple. Like, we've been just doing XYZ, like, whatever, and just been so busy and, like, just not been here together. And, like, that's what's the thing that's, like, irking me beyond belief. And, like, I'm just sitting there playing the game, making it worse. But that's how I'm processing at the moment.
Well, as you found out, like, she has a horse.
Yeah.
And if anybody knows anything about women and horses, they come first.
I didn't know that.
I have,
Oh, no, it's true. It's
I
very
have
true.
I have an assistant manager. She's been married for quite a while, and even to this day, her husband's like, yes, honey. The horse can do that. We will get it for the horse. With me, I tend to put my foot down a little bit more, and I think I bring her back into reality of, like, I understand a horse is a living thing. Like, we got to treat it. We got to do things. But, like, some things are just a little bit more important than hi.
Charlie. Come here, buddy.
It's okay.
Hi,
It's a charity,
buddy.
Bob.
Hi, buddy.
But, you know, just sometimes things are a little bit more important. Some things take more of a priority.
Yeah.
But, like, the communication, like, for a short period of time, like, I would get off work, we go to the barn, we come home. Maybe make a meeting. Get up, go to work, go to the barn, come home. There's a repetition, and I'm like, where in there am I really spending time with you? You
Just
know?
you.
Like, just you. Like, yes, I support her passion, you know, and I know how much she loves horses. And it took me a while to admit, like, I want to support you. I was just getting so frustrated with just being like, it's a horse, it's a barn, it's a horse, it's a barn, it's a horse, it's a barn. It's like, what about me? Like, what are we going to do for Ronnie? So it was a selfish act.
I mean, it's also, like, the reason of, like, because for a period, I tried to teach her the one day. That just didn't go very well because Ronnie wants it now. She wants to learn it now. And we determined that, you know, if she's going to ride, she just wants to sit on the horse and, like, go for a trail ride. She doesn't want to learn to put her heels down or do anything else, you know?
You've gotten better with that.
Yes, you have. She rode motorcycles, so toe down, heel up.
Got it.
So I got to alter my brain. I got to change my thinking.
Yeah.
But, you know, with, like, after that, like, she stopped going to the barn, like, enjoying it quite as much as she was. And, finally actually came down to what it really was, and it didn't actually have anything to do with that. It had to do with, like, that being my hobby and her, like, what is my hobby.
Yeah.
You had to find your own hobby.
Yeah.
And, you know, and it, like, I've always been interested in photography, and I never really had my own camera up until it was, like, 2014. Everything was just always, like, the disposables and whatever. And then my addiction completely, like, overcame everything. And I'm actually surprised I didn't even sell off my camera for money, you know? So I'm, like, thankful I didn't do that. But after having that discussion, I was like, I actually sat with myself. I'm like, what do I enjoy doing? I enjoy going on hikes, but that's something we do together. I used to play volleyball. I'm in no shape to be doing that anymore. My knees will definitely say, yo, you're crazy.
That's like me trying to dance now. Like, trying to even go to Zumba classes is like, no. I miss it so much, but I just can't.
You know, and like, I don't really quad and dirt bike and ride motorcycles anymore, so it's just like, okay. And I used to enjoy mechanics a lot, so I have a knowledge basis, but it became a hobby into a job, which then took away that feeling of like enjoying it.
Yeah.
Kind of like when you like have your own car and you're restoring it, and then all of a sudden it's like, hey, a friend, they need this done, and all of a sudden you're like, your restoration starts getting put on the back burner, and you keep looking at it like, I'll eventually get to it, and then you end up selling the parts. So I finally sat with myself, and I was like, photography. I was like, I like going on hikes, and I can still do something of my own.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And so then I started, like, actually, like, taking my camera a little bit more often with me, took it on vacations, you know, did this, did that, downloaded a program on the computer, and, like, now I've found, like, my little thing.
That's awesome.
So, like, if she knows that I'm not answering the phone, it's more likely that I'm on the computer and I'm doing all this, like, fine detail and my creativity's going. But, you know, so that has helped us in the last, like, little bit just to, like, realize, like, that's your thing. This is mine. Every now and then I'll go to the barn with you, and obviously you'll see my photography, like, through this. And even for my birthday, like, she's like, what do you want? I'm like, I don't know. Just be thankful I'm 40.
I told her she was getting a camera.
Oh, there you go.
And then I narrowed it down to 2 options because she was like, yeah, they all look good. I'm like,
I want all of them because they all look awesome. Well, that's not gonna work in the budget, dear.
yeah. So the one day, like, I had time at work, and so I was like doing some researching, and like I found a couple options and everything. And so I got her like a camera body and then like 2 different lenses, and then found out yesterday that I have to get an adapter for the one lens, but it gives a lot more options after you have the adapter for other lenses.
Okay.
So we just got the camera yesterday, and like kind of everybody like my mom, my grandma, and like a bunch of our friends all chipped in on it a little bit. So cut the price down by like 1/3.
Okay.
And so now, like, she can actually, like...
I feel a lot more happy. Like,
That's awesome.
Money, because the other thing that kind of, like, teeters the whole, like, hobby thing was I get bonuses at work.
Yeah.
And my last bonus was in March.
Yep.
Was that when you wanted the saddle?
No, that was September.
That was a year ago.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, my bonuses tend to go towards horse hobby.
Gotcha.
Horse essentials.
Gotcha.
And I think the one time I was like, what if I want a quad? Maybe I want to spend my money on something I want, you know? And so that's the communication, and, you know, and that's the important thing about, like, life. And that's what I enjoy. It's not the arguing, you know, but it's having that companionship and being able to share the memories and actually, you know, get on each other's nerves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I mean, like, that's part of it. Like, if you never get on each other's nerves, you're not being honest, because you're 2 different people. No matter what, you had 2 different growing up situations. Like, they could be similar, but you still had very different experiences in that. So, like, yeah, of course, like, you're gonna argue, you're gonna get at each other, and you're gonna drive each other insane.
That's how, like, most relationships deteriorate, when they see something wrong going on with the other person, and then they're just like, just let it happen.
Yeah, whatever.
They don't call them out on it. They're just like, I don't have the time, energy.
Or it's the line, it's not you, it's me. We're done.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Instead of, like, sitting down and, like, thinking about the options, like, okay, you know, where did we go wrong? Where did we start veering away from each other?
Yeah.
You know, and then sitting down and, like you said, finding the root of the situation.
Yeah.
You know, was it something she said, or was it something he did? Was it something that a family member did that is, you know, ripple affecting into your relationship? So it's just a matter of getting back to it. You might be the option of couples therapy. It might actually be like, hey, you know, like, I'm going to go stay at my mom's for like a week. Let's just give it a week. I'll come back and let's see if we can start communicating.
Yeah.
No, I'm not.
I was like, someone's giving you the eyes.
But I know what you're saying, because people, you know, just over time
you
kind
grow.
of
And sometimes you grow separately.
yeah, and then you have to go back, and it's just this constant. So if you don't try to bring it back to that connection, eventually you're just gonna be like so far apart that it's like impossible. You can't hear each other anymore. You're too far.
I have a really good story for you
Okay.
guys. So Ronnie, like, it works at Home Depot, and so she's in the process of like moving up and everything. And so she's like, if I end up like as a store manager at some point, like I could end up anywhere. And she's like, so if we have kids or whatever, like I'd hate to like pick up and move and everything. So she's like, so I was thinking, I could get like an apartment wherever I am, and I'll come back for like weekends and holidays. And she's just like going off in like this grand idea, and I'm looking at her like, do you hear yourself right now? Like, I did not marry you to see you on weekends and holidays.
Yep.
Like, hell no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then she thought about it. She's like, well, I was just thinking. I'm like, think again. She's like, yeah, I guess you're right.
No, but that's like the greatest thing is like one of the most important things I've heard in the rooms is you go to a place where you can say the craziest things in the world, and somebody sitting next to you is going to go, I know exactly what you mean. Whereas if I said that to somebody in Home Depot, they'd be like, that's a great idea. And then I'm thinking to myself, which I shouldn't, agree with sometimes, but is maybe they're crazy because they just agreed with me, So then, that's what's so great about, like, the alternatives, as, this whole podcast is about, is the alternatives. But it's a greater way of thinking.
Yeah.
It's a design set for living. And I just feel blessed to just, have this ability.
Yeah.
I don't, like, I almost think of it as like a talent.
In a way it is, like, because you have a deeper understanding of yourself, and sometimes, like, and others too, like you were saying before, like, you can't bullshit a bullshitter. Like, we've done this stuff, we've manipulated these ways, we've tried these things out, and we've gotten to a point where we, like, understand the good and the bad with all those things, and we are learning to balance it. Whereas, like, other people, they just keep going full steam ahead, and they're going full steam ahead, maybe in the wrong direction, but no one's stopping them and being like, hey, red flag, like, slow down, something's wrong, but, like, that's why, like, I was so excited to have you guys on, because, like, it's another couple who, like, has worked together with the sobriety and, like, understands it, because, like, we've talked about before, like, in the AA rooms, they don't really want you doing that, especially, like, in your first year. But truth be told, I never would have made it to a year without him at home. Like, it just wouldn't have happened. So, like, it's so nice to, like, talk to other people who, like, understand that, too. Like, how important the support is, even being multiple years in. Like, it's still good to, like, come home and be like, all right, I'm having the worst day ever. Like, I'm having all these cravings. Like, something's going wrong. Like, help me out. Like, talk me down.
And the other thing, too, is there really isn't that many couples that we've encountered either. I mean, we met one woman who her fiance was speaking at a meeting, and that's how we met them. And now we keep in touch with them, and they said, you know what, it's a blessing that, like, I've got somebody that's going to call me out on my bullshit.
Yeah.
They're not going to co-sign it.
Yeah.
And that's like the dangerous parts about life is that, there's people around us that can't comprehend our way of thinking because it's just like, I don't get it, but okay.
Yeah.
Whereas, again, like, if I came up with this grand idea to be a store manager and get, like, a house in Malibu and fly back and forth to Jersey and, I can have all the riches in the world, but,
you wouldn't have that support during the week or
exactly,
how your schedule worked
out. I completely forgot, like, hello, you gotta stay sober, you're gonna do it by yourself again?
Yeah.
Because look how that worked out for you.
Yeah.
And so, but saying that to her and having her also in recovery and being like, whoa, like, fishbowl and reel back in because this is not why, one, we're together, and two, it's just ridiculous.
Yeah, that's an easy thing to do, though, like, trying to do, like, individual things too much and then leaving out the other partner. Like, I've done that before too, just like focusing too much on work and whatnot, and it's really it's easy to get like that.
I'm
It's
a workaholic.
Yeah, same.
Well, like I was talking about before, like him with the night shift thing, like when we talked about it, I was like, I'm so, like, I think you might be able to handle it, but like I can't. I know I can't. And then like the second I said that to him, he goes, oh no, I'm not taking the job. Like, because like he could see that I was like terrified. Like, okay, if you leave me alone like 5 nights a week, like, okay, that might work out for like a month, maybe 2 months, maybe even 3 months, but I don't think it's gonna work out much longer. Like, danger.
When my position opened up for that opportunity, it was me actually taking a step up from being an associate, just a regular sales associate. Yeah. There was major changes that were happening, and everybody kind of knew that something was going to happen where the overnight was going to be that position. And so when I was hearing about it, I said to her, I was like, this is what's going on at work, and there's a good possibility they're going to probably ask me. So we went over like the pros and the cons of it.
Yeah.
And the basic thing that I said was like, I said to her, I was like, it's a really, really good opportunity. And if I'm not going to tell anybody else not to take it, I can't tell you not to take it. I was like, it's going to really suck sleeping by myself, and like being in the house by myself at night. Because at that point we didn't have the puppy, obviously, and so literally just me and the cats, and cats aren't really good guard dogs.
Guard dogs.
Nope.
Especially Lily. I mean, it was only Lily too, so I mean, she would have just meowed to you to
And then
death.
hid under the bed.
Yeah.
Oh, you're scary. Bye.
Yeah.
Mom, you're on your own.
And so I said to her, I was like, I will, like, it's gonna suck, like, sleeping by myself. I was like, but I know I'll be okay. I'll just spend more time at the barn, you know, like, that's how I'd make it through.
Yeah.
But I said to her, I was like, are you going to be able to sleep during the day? Like, are you actually going to be able to do that? I was like, that's something that you have to figure out, and it's not okay, you're going to be on it for 6 months, like, and January 1st or something, like, you're going to be done.
Right.
Like, it was not a
there was no, like, you're just here for this period of time.
It was very open-ended.
It could be very, like, it could be a 12-month thing. It could be a 5-year plan.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was something I did not want to sign up for.
Yeah.
But also talking to her, and I even shared it with her, even like telling some of my stories of just some of my addictions is, I use dry substances as part of my story, and if I wasn't drinking, I had a dry substance in my hand, or in this case, up my nose.
Yeah.
So the last time I was working for a company and overnights was involved, I was drinking Red Bull by the cases each night.
Oh boy.
Not with alcohol in it, but I had the other substance that helps me keep awake.
Yeah. Yeah, especially, I mean, most of the people that do those types of jobs, it's like, it's almost mandatory.
That you're psychologically screwed up?
No,
You're doing the substance to keep you going.
No, but I mean, like, but that's the thing is, like, even now, like, being sober and clean and actually going through with that overnight position and seeing it, I've done it recently again in July, and I did the inventory, so, but that was only a 2-week period. And, like, I couldn't wait for the 2 weeks to be over. I was like, oh my God, I did this for 11 and a half months. Like,
oh, wow.
So, but, seeing the employees that I was working with and that I was in charge of, it was very challenging to try and, like, get them to comprehend even, like, the simplest of ways of thinking, because like I could talk to a day associate and they'll completely understand, and it's like to them it's like, wait, what?
Yeah. There's a reason why people work in the lot and on overnights, and
it's the social interaction.
Right.
Some people are just not built to socialize.
Right.
Yes.
So that's why there's positions like that.
Yeah. Just for
You know.
I did an overnight once too for a while, for a grocery store, and they're just another breed, aren't they?
Yes.
And I was just like, after like a couple months of doing it, I was like, I think I'm losing my mind, so I'm out of here.
Yeah.
I think bottom line, like with like being married and like in a sober relationship, it all goes back to honesty and openness.
Yes.
Always. Like if you're not talking to each other, like you got nothing. And like that's what it always comes down to. Like when we're starting to like really get on each other's nerves over like the stupid things, it's like, all right, we need to, like, take some time and just, like, be with each other, whether, like, we go on a hike or, like, we just go drive somewhere, you know. Like, we just need to be with each other and just spend that time together and just talk.
Yeah.
And I think that's just the most important thing. And I think, like she said, like, our motto, like, together, like, we can get through anything, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, and, like, it's not like you even have to talk about anything, like, crucial. It's just reestablishing the connection.
Yeah.
Just sometimes you just need that again, like, to feel, like, one again instead of, like, two separate entities running whatever direction. So, like, even, like, this last weekend, we got to go to the beach for the weekend, and that just, like, even though, like, even on the beach, like, I was, like, reading, like, but, like, we'd still, like, were talking a lot, and, like, it just, like, brought us, like, back together again, like, not that we were, like, apart, it was just, like, last week was hectic, like, you know, so we didn't have, like, the couple time, so it was, like, nice to just stop, slow down, be there with each other, and just enjoy each other.
Life just gets in the way.
Oh, it does.
Yeah.
You know, like...
There's always stuff, like, there, even, like, social media, all these different things trying to get your attention, and, like, a lot of times I'll feel bad if I'm on, like, Instagram for a while, when I'm like, maybe I should have been talking to Monique or something like that, you know, just these little things.
Yeah,
but,
and you can get so lost in social media. I mean, like, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, like, you know, sometimes, like, I'll be on TikTok, I'll think I'll be on, like, for 5 minutes, and then I'll realize an hour has passed, and I'm like, oh my god. Like, but, like, those videos are so quick, so, like, you just don't realize how fast the time passes, and you just waste it when, like, you could be together, even if you're not, like, doing necessarily something together, you could be, like, talking, like, even just doing two different things, like, so it's just, like, funny how that
Well, it's
happens.
really hard because if, like, you're reading, you can't really talk while you read.
No. Yeah. No, like, he talks while he reads because he wants to tell me everything he's reading, because he reads, like, so I read, like, fun books, like, you know, fantasy, like, you know, just fun. And he's always reading, like, serious books. So then he's, like, stopping every 5 minutes to, like, tell me
this cool
like,
new
this
fact.
really cool fact.
I'm like, in the future, they're going to have this. Oh, my God.
And I'm like,
It's like, shut up.
like, we were on the beach, and I was literally, like, rereading Harry Potter. And I was like, I'm in the Department of Mysteries right now. Like, you gotta go away. Like, I was like, you gotta stop. I'm in a really important part. You gotta stop. Like,
Well, see, that's even weird because, like, when you talk about, like, two different people and coming from two different backgrounds,
Yeah.
you've got two different ways of thinking. She reads way much faster. She, like, skips words while she reads.
Like,
Oh,
the
wow.
big
But she can-
paragraphs, like, I skim that, because, you know, I really don't care about the details, I just want the point of the story. Like, I don't need to know what the house looked like and everything like that. Like, okay, they went in the house, cool.
But when she tells you a story, she tells you the details.
Oh, so it's still there. You still kind of subconsciously...
No, like, she'll be telling, like, what happened today, and she'll give me everything between A and B.
Gotcha.
She'll tell me
But-
the 8.1, 8.2, 8.3.
But if I don't give her all the details and I just give her, like, okay, this is what happened, she's like, what?
I'm special.
well,
So,
you went a little too fast there for me, dear.
But yeah, like, so I tend to read books that, like, give detail.
Yeah.
You know, like, currently right now I'm in a book that's, like, about a ghost story.
Huh.
You know, and the way they're doing their chapters, it's one character, what's happening with them in that day,
Okay.
and then the next chapter is that different character, same day. So it's the same.
That sounds like my type of book.
You know, and I like that because it's like you're getting to know each one of them, and then they start to overlap each other.
Yeah.
Then you start to see how they're intertwined with each other. And to me, like, those kind of details are what make that book.
Yeah,
Whereas,
like even with, like, movies, like, I like to find, like, the behind the scenes kind of stuff. Like, I
Yes.
like
Oh,
to
that's
learn
totally
all
her.
that stuff.
And I'm
And, like, he'll look at me sometimes like, why do you care? I'm like, but it's so cool, like, to know this stuff, like, how they filmed this. And he's like, okay.
Yeah.
And I'm
yeah.
like, no, but you have to understand it. It's so cool.
like,
Not
yeah,
for
like,
me.
like Jaws. I could tell you how many mechanical sharks they went through.
Oh, wow. How
You
many?
know? I
Such
think
a
it was
good movie.
6.
6.
I believe it.
And actually, a fun fact is Steven Spielberg, in the beginning of the movie, the girl that is first killed by the shark,
Yeah.
that first like pull that she feels, the tug, was
Yeah.
actually done by Steven Spielberg himself.
Oh,
And
like,
she
like-
did not expect it either.
Oh.
oh,
So
we got a real
that
good reaction.
reaction is her real reaction to like, holy shit, something just touched me and pulled me underwater.
Wow. That's
I mean,
awesome.
that's one way to get it.
And because like I guess what it was is like how he had said it was like, okay, you know, we're gonna go through this and do this and count, and by the time like this happens, you'll be pulled under. So he was in a way giving her like the heads up, but then he turned
Did it
around
like
and
early
just
or
like
something?
woof, and
Yeah.
she was like, whoa, you know. So I mean, that's the exciting things about it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I love the detail stuff too.
Yeah.
So like I totally understand, but it's funny like cuz like I said like even though I've read the Harry Potter books, like I still want every single detail. So when he's like trying to tell me about like what's that book? Physics? Something with physics?
Oh, it's just pretty much the future. Like, yeah, everything in the future.
Yeah, so like
AI.
Yeah, so, like-
nanotechnology, like all that stuff.
yeah, so it was like a lot of complicated stuff and I'm on vacation. I'm like I don't want complicated right now. You're hurting my brain. Like I just want to be in my little happy world. Like leave me alone. And like I felt bad saying that a couple times. I was like, "Honey, I can't focus on that right now." Like even though I've read the book like multiple times, like I just get so enmeshed in the story like cuz even though like with some books like I'll read it time and time and I'll still find a new detail that like I missed the last time too, and I love doing that too. And like, you know, he just like he wants the book for the facts and I'm like, I don't get that. Like that's a textbook, that's school.
Yeah, me and my brother Nate, we always read for facts.
Yeah. They read for facts, and then like his youngest brother Zach, he reads like I do, like for the details of like the book. So like Zach's recommended some books to me that like I adore, and so it's just like it's funny because it's two like they grew up all in the same household, but two very different mindsets even there.
Yeah.
So you know, it's just like it's funny how that happens.
But yeah, I mean, even when we went on vacation, we kind of made like a little deal, like, you know, let's try to stay off the phones. So the only time we really pulled the phones out was like pictures, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But also we had somebody watching the cats and then the pet sitter for the dogs because her mother has dogs also.
Okay.
So that was like really the only time that like cell phones were out, and every now and then it was just like, okay, quiet time before bed.
Yeah.
Because I'm exhausted. Like when I sit out in the sun for a very long period of time and I'm not doing anything, I get tired faster.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You know?
Oh yeah.
So, you know, at bedtime I do like even now, like I enjoy like either turning on the TV. I could not even care less what was on the TV. It's just like it's noise, it's that white noise. It's gonna help me go to sleep. I play all kinds of puzzle games. It just
I do
turns
that
my
too.
brain off and I'm done. This one here is just like
Me, you're the one that's been like playing your games recently at night, and I'm like, all right, I'm gonna go to sleep. The light's still on. She's still wide awake playing on her phone, and I'm just like, okay, good night.
It's funny because about the white noise, like I do not like the white noise. So when we first started dating, or when I first started living here,
Yeah.
like she would have the TV on, and I was to go to sleep, and I was like, we can't do that. So now she has headphones.
I
and
have like
stuff
little
to go to sleep.
headphones to go to sleep because like if I don't have the white noise while laying down, like I can't settle. I just keep thinking and thinking and thinking, and then I just end up in a spiral, and it's 5 hours later, and then I know I have to get up in 2 hours, and I'm screwed. So then it makes it harder for even those 2 hours. Like, so I have these little like headband thing, and like I knock out so easily with that because like I'll turn on whatever, like a comfort show. And like you said, the white noise, like I'm not even paying attention. And like sometimes though he'll like hear it and he'll know like what episode I'm on. Like if I like try to watch it the next day because I like didn't watch it, like he'll be like, "Didn't you watch that last night? Like I heard that line. I know I did." Well, I didn't actually watch it, dear. Like
I heard
it, but I was probably asleep by that point.
And, you know,
you might not have been.
I'm more like he is, you know, in the sense of like I never had a TV in my room, like nothing. Like I always just went to sleep with literally nothing. Like when I was a kid, you know, like I'd have like music on or something, but that went away by the time I was like 10. And
Yeah.
so like she also likes the TV on, and so I had to physically teach myself how to just not watch it, like close my eyes, close my ears off, because if we start watching a movie, I want to know the end.
Yeah.
and I'm just going to stay awake and just watch the whole thing, and she'll be passed out in 20 minutes. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to watch the movie now because I need to know the end.
Yeah. And that's the best part, too, is, like, you get older, you tend to, like, oh, let's watch a movie.
Yeah. 100%.
Oh, and then she's closing her eyes. I'm like, honey, are you awake? I'm closing my eyes. I'm resting my eyes.
I'm still listening.
5 minutes later. Honey? Honey? What? I'm like, okay, are you ready for bed? No, I'm listening.
Yeah, like, so how it started for me, because, like, growing up, I never had a TV, but when I went to college, my roommate could not sleep without the TV, and I couldn't, like, I tried the earplugs, like, with the TV, and I couldn't do it because the flashing of the lights, so I started doing that, where I'd, like, watch it. So I made a deal with her, like, okay, let's put on something that we've both seen, so, like, I can fall asleep to it. So that's what I do now. I fall asleep to shows that I've already seen. So, like, I don't sit there and, like, have to watch the whole thing. But I got so used to it from that. And then living by myself for a while, like, the white noise gave me, like, safety.
Yeah,
because,
you
like,
didn't feel alone.
Right, because, like, you know, like, I have neighbors, like, or we have neighbors, and, like, sometimes I'd hear, like, weird noises, like a creak or, you know, flushing of the toilet or, like, a pipe making a noise or whatever. And that would scare me to death. So, like, it was like a white noise to even, like, block out that. So, like, now I've gotten so used to it that I'm, like, dependent on it. So, like I said, I have my little headphones so that way he doesn't have to deal with it. But, like, otherwise I'm, like, up all night and I'm just in trouble. Thanks for listening to Alternatives to AA. If you would like to contact us directly, please shoot us an email at alternatives2aa2021@gmail.com. We also hope that you continue to join us on Mondays at 6 p.m. You can watch us live on YouTube. You can subscribe to us that way as well. You can leave us a 5-star rating and follow us on Spotify. And if you're on Apple Podcasts, we ask that you please leave a rating and an honest review.
We'll see you next week. Bye.